which I was.
And you've been listening to Mike Vrabel there, but big breaking news out of the NFL. Cowboys fans have been waiting for a decision. His contract was coming up on the 14th. One day before that, Mike McCarthy will not continue as head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That is the very latest from our senior NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. This ends a 5 tenure in Dallas, which featured 3 playoff appearances, just 1 postseason win. The Cowboys went on to have a disappointing 7-10 record this past season. McCarthy's worst since his first year in Dallas. Let's bring back in here Logan Ryan. Look, you had some 12-win seasons there, and then you end up on the short end of the stick this time around. Are you surprised for the Dallas Cowboys deciding to move on from Mike McCarthy?
I'm not surprised by this. I know this has been my take that I think they should move on from Mike McCarthy, and I've been disagreed with heavily with some other analysts here at CBS. I just feel like when you have a quarterback of Dak Prescott's level, we can debate that, but he's highly paid. He was up in MVP races. When you have that talented of a quarterback, Dallas has had some talented rosters, great offensive line and defensive line play, but they got old, right? So the rosters age. But when you had this window with Dak Prescott and that roster and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper and everything they had going on there, they weren't able to get it done. Yes, they won a bunch of playoff games. Yes, they won a division. Yes, 12 games, or regular season games, I should say. But when they got to the playoffs, completely different team. Not the best team in the playoffs, not prepared in the playoffs. Last year, they had one of the worst playoff performances I've seen as a player. I played the Packers the week after they beat them. As a 7 seed, getting upset at home as a 2 seed is never good in the playoffs. So I felt like McCarthy had his time. He had his run. He did not get it done. I know Cowboys fans have high expectations every single year, and they need to bring a coach in. And I don't know who right now, but they need to bring a coach in to unlock that potential, to get the best out of his players, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And I think that's why this move was made. He didn't get fired, he just didn't get extended, and he didn't get extended going into the season. So I think all signs are pointing to this.
You mentioned the playoff wins there. The Cowboys have not been past the divisional round since 1995 when they won the Super Bowl. So it has been quite some time, moving on 30 years now. I mean, as you mentioned, look, we don't know where this is going. What do you want to see from Jerry Jones in deciding to hire this next coach? What do you think he's looking for? We know so much of the Cowboys. It goes back to Jerry Jones. What are you hoping, if anything, differently that he does this time around in searching for a new head coach?
Well, we want to see that Jerry Jones has a plan, right? That's the biggest thing, because sometimes when he's dragging these contracts out late, it's like, what was your plan? What was your plan with the Dak Prescott contract? You waited longer, paid him more. What was your plan with the CeeDee Lamb contract? He held out in training camp, then you eventually paid him, which we all know he should have got paid. What is your plan with Michael Parsons? So you didn't extend Mike McCarthy. You didn't bring him back. What is the plan? Do they have a Ben Johnson? Do they have a top coach in the wings that they can bring in? I want to see what the plan is. He must have identified somebody. If not, he would have brought back Mike McCarthy, and it had to be somebody better than Mike McCarthy if you want to let Mike McCarthy go. So does Jerry Jones have a plan here? And what that is what I want to see, because I know the coaching job in Dallas comes with Jerry Jones has roster management issues over your head. And a lot of coaches want control. A lot of coaches want to understand what the roster looks like. Well, those conversations, is he willing to give up some of that management to the coach? And who is his plan at that coach? That's what I want to see. Is there a plan at the end of this one for Jerry Jones?
I think that's what's so frustrating probably from Cowboys fans is some of those things you mentioned. Look, it doesn't necessarily fall on the coach. It is those contract decisions where he's waiting too long and that he's overpaying a lot of these players, or he's playing what the market is, which is more expensive than what it would have been had he taken action a little bit earlier. So how much does it matter? I mean, what difference can a coach make that he brings in if he were to get a Ben Johnson, who, by the way, we know everybody's going after? I mean, what sort of coach is going to make a difference with this Cowboys franchise?
I mean, great coaches make differences right away. Look at Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers. Yes, they did not get it done in the playoffs, but he got the best out of a lot of his players for that point. Listen, coaching in football matters more than any other sport, because every time the ball starts from a dead ball stop. That means a coach draws up a play versus another coach, and you have a better plan for your players. You can have better success in the outcome there. So it's going to be somebody there and get the best out of Dak Prescott, somebody there and they got to rejuvenate. This roster got old. I played against Dallas, like I said, when they had great offensive line play and great defensive line play, and they had a young Ezekiel Elliott, and they had a trio of receivers in CD, Gallup, and Amari Cooper, and they had good guys on the defensive side. So I was like, man, this is a talented roster, but they had no plan for the roster. It aged. They didn't make great additions. They only had subtractions. Now they have no running game. So I need to have a coach in to take some of that away from Jerry and figure out the plan going forward. But I think a good X&O coach, somebody that understands what we're doing, you have Dak Prescott, get some more pieces on offense, score points, you could always figure the defensive side out later.
Going into the season, look, this is a Cowboys team, and you mentioned just the talent, the names that are on this roster, and some people said this is a postseason team. It could potentially be a Super Bowl team. If you get the right coach in there, if you have the right plan from Jerry Jones, they went 7-10 this season, and yes, you have the Commanders who are looking phenomenal right now in that division, as well as the Eagles. Can the Cowboys compete next season if you get the right pieces in play in this division?
What are the pieces, right? We got to see what the pieces are. The Eagles have something with Saquon Barkley now that, and a young defense that isn't going anywhere. A.J. Brown's under contract. Devontae Smith's under contract. They got Goddard under contract. Their offensive line is good. And then they have all these great young pieces on defense. So you can't assume that Philly's just going to fall apart next year. They're not going nowhere. And, oh, by the way, this rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels, might be the most poised rookie we ever seen. Got the first road victory in the NFL in how many years for a rookie quarterback to do that. So the Commanders, they're going to have money. They're going to bring some players in to build around Jaden Daniels. They're going to get better. So this division is getting better. Now, the New York Giants, I got the helmet behind me. I can't speak on their plan right now. I don't know what that is. So Dallas right now is looking like they're solid third in their division with an aging roster. So, yes, you can bring a coach in, but we got to see what the players, we got to see what these pieces are. A great head coach and a quarterback is half the battle. I like Dak as a quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. Don't hate on that fact. He is a good quarterback. You got to have a good head coach. That's more than half the battle. But your division is looking like some young, hungry teams are only getting better.
Absolutely, Logan Ryan. We appreciate the time. The breaking news here, Mike McCarthy and Dallas Cowboys not coming to an agreement about his contract extension, so he will no longer be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Added up, there are now 6 head coach openings. There were 6 for a second. The Patriots filled that. Tack on the Dallas Cowboys, making it 6 once again out there. We will have more on this coming up.
The way the defense ended the season, pressuring Sam Darnold, I think they're going to try and have to hit Jay in early, right? And I think Aaron Glenn's going to be aggressive in this ball game. So I think Detroit takes care of business, but it's awesome to see Washington back, winning playoff games, first time since 2006. It was fun to watch last night.
Dan Campbell and crew will be looking to bite Jaden Daniels' kneecaps off in this one, as he said so many years ago. So this is when you kind of put the proof in the pudding. The other game that is maybe a little unique when it comes to the Vikings and the Rams playing in Arizona due to those wildfires. But on top of that, you got a 14-win team in the wild card round. And on the other side, the Rams, who at one point we didn't even see a postseason run, but they turned it on late. How might this matchup weigh out here between these two?
I think this was probably the most intriguing matchup of the entire wild card weekend, right? Two teams playing well coming into the postseason. I know Minnesota had that loss versus Detroit in the last game of the season, but you mentioned it, 14 wins, really impressive season from them. On the other side, I think the Rams, halfway through that season got healthy and started to play really good team football. I think they're running the ball well. Kyron Williams, really, really good out of the backfield for them. I think Stafford with Nakua and Kupp. I expect this one to be a high-scoring game tonight. I think Stafford's ability to handle pressure is going to be the key to the game because Brian Flores is going to send it at him. He's been very good at his career. He's tough. He'll stand in there. He understands how to get the football out of his hand. But the way he does it tonight, I think, is the key to this football game. If he handles the pressure, I think the Rams win.
Yeah, that tonight, 8 Eastern, to officially set the scene for all the teams in the playoffs as we move forward. Matt, it's always a pleasure hanging with you on a Monday morning. Stay warm as you get ready for everything that's coming up ahead of you in the future. And, of course, the future will include the Super Bowl, and we look at the updated odds to win it all. The Lions, the favorite, sitting there at plus 310. The Texans, we mentioned, can they keep it competitive? Can they do anything to win? 44-1 of those odds, so maybe a chance to make a lot of money if you like Houston. But you see, it's the Lions and Chiefs leading the way at 1 and 2.
Well, y'all, The winds of change are blowing through Dallas, and it looks like Mike McCarthy's time with the Cowboys is coming to an end. Word is, old Jerry Jones and McCarthy have agreed to part ways, though it ain't official just yet. After a 7-10 season, folks reckon the coach's departure might just be the shakeup this team needs to finally end their nearly 30-year dry spell since their last Super Bowl win. Now, don't get me wrong, McCarthy had his moments. The man racked up a 50-38 record while leading the Cowboys and even took the NFC East crown last year. But with playoff performances as shaky as a one-legged cowboy at a dance-off, his 1-3 postseason mark just ain't cutting it. Heck, even last season, when the Cowboys faced the Packers in a wild-card game, the boys were sitting ducks, down 32 points by the fourth quarter. To be fair, injuries hit this team harder than a Texas summer hits your AC bill. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, and Trevin Diggs all ended up on the injured list, and McCarthy had to make do. Still, excuses don't win championships, and Jerry ain't exactly the patient type. Here's where things get spicy. McCarthy's history with the Packers shows he's got the chops to win big, with a Super Bowl ring and 3 NFC championships to his name. But after leading Dallas to heartbreak instead of glory, some fans are wondering, is this breakup a blessing in disguise? The Cowboys haven't sniffed a championship game since Bill Clinton was president, and folks are hungry for something fresh. Now, before y'all start dreaming of who's going to take McCarthy's spot, let's chew on this. Is it the coach or is it the culture? The Cowboys roster ain't short on talent, but something keeps holding them back. Could it be time for Jerry to rethink his whole approach to building a championship team? And here's a thought for you. If McCarthy couldn't get the Cowboys over the hump, who in the wide world of football can? Maybe it's time for a younger, hungrier coach to step up. Or maybe Dallas just needs a little more luck. What do y'all think? Is McCarthy leaving the solution? Or is this team still riding a broken wagon? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Cowboys fans, the floor is yours. Where do we go from here?